movie people out there? I just got done watching Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. This movie was incredible. I will be giving some spoilers, so if you have not seen this movie or you plan on watching this movie, do not watch the rest of this video. I am warning you right now. The way this starts out just had me right at the very beginning. It was so action-oriented, but it was also really comedic, the way that they were defending the batteries for the Sovereign. It's just one of those stories where at the very beginning it really pulls you in and it keeps you entertained all the way through. Although I did think it was really stupid that Rocket wouldn't think that they would come after them after stealing some of the batteries himself. I think that was a small plot point where it's going to be something that's going to blow up in their faces much more later on. Although technically it did blow up in their faces in the movie itself, although at the very end credit scene it seems as though that's going to have another far-reaching result. Having Kurt Russell come in as Ego, that was something that was very controversial, or at least it was amongst a lot of comic book people out there, being that it was a human rather than a planet itself, being that Ego, the living planet, is very well known in the comic book universe. But as many people guessed, including me, we all knew that this was just going to be a representation of Ego. Ego itself was still going to be the planet. And even though we only got to see it briefly, we did get to see the comic book version of Ego from afar, and I'm glad that they put that in there. I didn't quite understand everything that Ego wanted to do. He spread his seedlings in other planets, and he wanted to take over the planets and make them become part of him. I don't remember him saying that he wanted to become all-powerful, so I don't know if that was going to be the end result of this. But regardless of that, I still think the performances by Kurt Russell and with Chris Pratt were great. And I know it's so overdone, but I love Baby Groot. I mean, I loved his character. He only played a minuscule part in this movie, but still, the parts that he did play, I loved it. I was surprisingly sad that Yondu died in this. I know there's a lot of rumors online that he wasn't going to be contracted to be in part of the future movies, but still, it was something that I wasn't expecting. It was also so incredibly cool that we got to see some of the other original Guardians of the Galaxy in this movie. I don't know whether or not that's setting it up for some future movies or future stories or future crossovers, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed that that's what's going to happen. I'm glad they didn't make a big romantic thing between Star-Lord and Gamora. I mean, they do flirt with each other, and there are certain hints and gestures, but it's not like a big focus on the story. I'm also really happy that this is a story contained in itself that's still a part of the main Marvel universe. It's going to have some other repercussions. But telling a story just to focus on a future story is something that I've never been a fan of, and I'm really glad that in this movie you can watch it without really having too much background or knowing what's going to be happening in the Marvel universe. There are a lot of points where I literally laughed out loud, and luckily most of the other people in the theater that I was with, they also laughed too. Like when Drax is telling Mantis that she's beautiful on the inside, or when Kraglin is trying to use Yondu's arrow and he ends up hitting Drax. The special effects in this are off the chain. I mean, damn, every movie that I see that's made from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it just seems as though their effects get better and better. Okay, so the music. The music was great. I'm not a big music person, but I really appreciate it. The movie is called Volume 2, which is a play on the second cassette that was given to Peter Quill by his mother. Speaking of his mother, I know it seems as though it's been overdone, but I like the idea that what really snapped Peter Quill out of his trance from Ego was the fact that Ego admitted to killing his mother, or at least he admitted to putting the tumor in her head. Nebula, I felt, was very underplayed in this movie. I knew she wasn't going to join full on, but I would have liked to have seen maybe more interaction with her and some of the other characters, and them working together as a team like that. Okay, the post-credit scene. One of the things that I've been worried about for the Infinity War coming up with the Avengers is that Adam Warlock has not been introduced yet. At least now they're starting to reference him. It's already been stated that he's not going to be part of the Infinity War movie, but I'm really hoping that Marvel is just playing with us and he will play a major role in it. Oh yeah, seeing Stan Lee with the Watchers, or with like beings who look like the Watchers. If you're not aware of this, there's a theory out there that Stan Lee is Autu, the Watcher that watches over Earth. Is that how you pronounce it? I've always pronounced it Autu since I was a kid. I'm not sure though. Anyways though, seeing him with the Watchers has probably made a lot of theorists out there go totally batshit. Personally, I thought this movie was just as good as the first movie, maybe slightly better. Everyone has their own personal opinions on this. Maybe I'm biased a bit being that I'm a huge geek, also that I love Chris Pratt so much, but I think the story in this, I felt the interaction between all of the characters. I also felt that the big adventure as a whole being tied into the Marvel Universe was awesome. Alright, I'm just kind of babbling at this point, but I really enjoyed this movie a lot. Go watch it. Even if you're not a comic book fan, I think that you'll thoroughly enjoy it. And with that, thank you guys for watching me in this movie review. If you haven't done it yet, check out my Patreon site. You become one of my patrons and you get to see some extra pictures, videos, behind the scenes stuff, and extra photo shoots that I only show to patrons. So check it out, I'd really appreciate it. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, hit that subscribe button. Also put down the notifications so you'll be notified about every video that I put up. And with that, I will join you guys in another video very soon. Peace, love, namaste, and I'll see you guys later. Peace. Oh yeah, when Peter Quill got the Zune and it could hold up to 50 songs or something, I forget what it was exactly. But that moment right there, everyone in the theater erupted laughing, including me. I mean, that is actually really hilarious that they put that in there. And I'm glad that they kind of kept on with the fact that Peter Quill is a bit behind when it comes to audio technology.